Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. We're here to do the second live stream. Yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to get into it. But first things first, right? All important tea is in the house. And we also have the all important chocolate on a pretty plate. So I don't know what you like to have when you're writing, but I like to have little special things, snacky foods and things like that. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Thank you everyone for making time on a Saturday night. I really appreciate it. I have my different screens here so that I can see all of your wonderful comments. Let me go ahead and open the YouTube in a separate window here. Can everyone hear me okay? Everything's coming in all right? I'm going to try to see the chat here. Hi, Hope. Good to see you. There might be a little bit of a delay. I'm still trying to figure that out in terms of when you guys see me or hear me, in terms of when it actually goes. So it's kind of interesting to see the little bit of the delay. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, there definitely is a delay. Okay, so I've been a very bad author this week, and I haven't written on this draft since we met last Friday and I was working on it. It's so bad, you can see it's not even in my top Sudowrite projects at all. I have to go down and find it. It's all the way down here. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't hard at work this week. We did some really exciting things with Sudowrite. We have a new API that got available, and then another one, Claude from Anthropic is coming. So I get to work on the prompting and things for that. And let's see, we also did a really cool hackathon that created a new tool. We're previewing that on Monday. So a couple of people have signed up for that tool preview, and that's going to be really exciting. All right, so we have a couple people in. Let's go. So let's see where we left off. We were kind of in the middle of this thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, I just don't feel like working on this project today. So, because what I need to write next is a really complicated scene, and I haven't even figured it out yet. So the AI is not going to be able to help me if I don't know what I want to write. So we're actually going to go to a different project of mine, which is the Twisted Ankle Affair. Okay, so the link went out in our Slack group in the cool stuff channel. So if you're part of the cool, in the Sudowrite Slack channel, you can see the cool stuff. The question was, how do we sign up for the tool preview? The tool is super in beta. We're just getting some input, and then we're going to make it even better. It is going to be a huge game changer. That's all I can say. It's definitely been a dream of mine to have it. Okay, got some sustenance here. So let me talk about this other project that I'm doing here. The idea of this is to be kind of a fun story that's going to go out probably right after my Moralities of Marriage #6, assuming I ever finish it. I kid. I actually do need to finish it. However, this is I imagined, what if Elizabeth Bennet twists her ankle at the Netherfield Ball? And this one already has a very full outline. And spoiler report, I had AI help me make this outline, and then I went in and beefed it up. So that's something that I really like doing. I really like doing AI help me, and then I go in and kind of make it human. So I've done chapter 1. This was actually a test I did one night. I gave myself 3 hours, and between me and AI, we got a 2,000 word outline done. We got 2,100 words on chapter 1 and 2,400 words on chapter 2. So that particular night, in 3 hours, I did 5,600 words, I think, total on the manuscript, and then a 2,000 word outline. Now, before we get started, again, the rules that I know you guys like to have. We have a chapter 3 that I was working on, but we're actually going to work on a completely different chapter. Let me go ahead and note where my Sudowrite words are, because we like to look at that. So I am at 589,833. I'm getting it at the beginning this time so that we know exactly how many AI words I used. Now, I'm not going to be looking to economize words here. The whole purpose of this is to be experimental and just kind of if I want to run and rewrite 3 times, I will. So that could be a different video that we could do if we wanted to do economizing. Okay, so chapter 3 was actually, the AI kind of came up with this whole extra scene in here that I don't hate, so I'm keeping it and I'm not getting rid of it, where they arrive back with the carriage, and then Elizabeth has this whole dream that Mr. Darcy's in her bedroom, which if you write Regency romance or read it, you know that can't possibly happen. not unless they want to be super compromised. So the AI wrote it, and I liked the writing a lot, and I made some changes to it, and it made me happy as a reader. So I was like, "Ooh, I'll make this like it's in her dreams." So this is going to pick up where she just finished and she woke up. So we are going to move to, let's see here. In walks, yeah, this is some old AI. This is not good. We will rename this not good. Okay, I'm going to do new and roll it up here. And we're going to call this chapter 4. So in all honesty, most of the time, I don't even know if it's going to be chapter 4. So let me just show Colin's proposal. So the scene I need to write today is where Mr. Collins is going to propose to Elizabeth Bennet. And it's going to be an awful proposal, like Mr. Collins does. And the night before at the ball, Elizabeth twisted her ankle. And Mr. Darcy carried her into the library. I know this is a fantasy. I know this wouldn't actually happen. It's not supposed to be realistic. It's fiction. But Mr. Darcy carried her into the library with her father. So, no compromise there. And they were talking and everything like that. It's very romantic. And so I'm imagining, what if they kind of came to an understanding a little bit earlier? So I'm going to write that Mr. Darcy is in the morning is, waking up thinking about Elizabeth, and he's going to ride over to Longbourn because he needs to talk to Mr. Bennet. He has feelings for Elizabeth, and he's going to actually kind of walk in right as Mr. Collins is proposing, and you can imagine how well that's going to go. So I'm thinking we need to write Mr. Darcy leaving in the morning. So let me use first draft tool, and let me get just kind of off the cuff decide what I want to do here. So this is the morning after the Netherfield ball. Mr. Darcy rises early, as his normal routine, and finds the house silent as the Bingleys and the Hursts are still asleep. Staff scurry around, cleaning up the remaining decorations and leftover punch glasses from the night before. The housekeeper, Mrs. We'll call her Burton. I don't have a name. Asks if Mr. Darcy needs anything, and he replies, his horse to be saddled, and to tell Bingley that he has ridden to Longbourn. Okay. And then we'll just see what it does from there. We'll just give it that much. So I have the morning after the Netherfield ball. Mr. Darcy rises early as his normal routine and finds the house silent as the Bingleys and the Hursts are still asleep. Staff scurry around, cleaning up the remaining decorations and leftover punch glasses from the night before. The housekeeper, Mrs. Burton, asks if Mr. Darcy needs anything, and he replies his horse to be saddled and to tell Mr. Bingley that he has ridden to Longbourn. So I'm just going to click go on this and see kind of what I get. And honestly, I'm kind of just exploring right now. This is one of the things I love about AI. When I kind of have some story ideas, but I want to explore them, artificial intelligence can really help me because I can kind of take a peek in it and be like, oh no, I don't really like that at all. And then go back and forth here. Okay, would you like some breakfast? I would say, would you like to break your fast? Oh. Well, yeah, he did remember that. Your saddle and bridle are ready, sir. Oh, we definitely need to name the horse. If you have an idea to name the horse, put it in the chat. All right. So that is still going there. All done? Okay. All right. Mr. Darcy rose early in the morning after the Netherfield ball, his routine yet unchanged from the nights before. As he descended the grand staircase, he heard the muted sound of activity coming from the dining room. He paused on the bottom step, looking out of the nearby window to admire the sun-dappled garden and the distant fields. How about the mist rising from the fields? Because it's autumn. Rising from the distant fields. Okay, cool. I like that. Let's go ahead and rewrite it. Let's punch it up. Let's make it more descriptive. Actually, let's try show not tell first, and we'll click go. Oh, I forgot to look to see how much it totally wrote. Dressed. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I just enjoy the AI to make me laugh. Mr. Darcy climbed out of bed and dressed in his usual attire, black trousers and a crisp white shirt, cinched around the waist with a black waistcoat. He made his way down. Okay, Mr. Darcy does not sleep in his clothes. Those would be so uncomfortable, but okay. I think I could say like he walked down the stairs, though. I like that bit. Mr. Darcy rose early the morning after the Netherfield ball. His routine unchanged, not yet, unchanged from the evening's revelry. Okay. I'm going to just add this in because I'm thinking more for the story. After the Bennets left early due to Miss Elizabeth's injury, he danced set with both of Mr. Bingley's sisters and one with Charlotte Lucas. Now, this is interesting because that just came to me that he would dance with Charlotte Lucas. And this is one of the things that I love about writing books, because this is a moment where I know my subconscious has got me. Because now I know this is called planting the Q factor. So if you read James Scott Bell and On Plotting, I'm putting in there that he's dancing with Charlotte Lucas. So now I have leeway later on in the story to have Charlotte say, oh no, he spoke very highly of you, blah, 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 blah. So it's one of the ways that you can kind of give yourself room to bring these tools in later if you just plant them earlier on in your story, and it gives you more options for the plot. And one with Charlotte Lucas. He danced a set before the night was over. He, not before the night was over. No more than a quarter hour later, he made his regrets and retired early. Okay. I'm checking the chat here because we have some information. How and which AI do you use to help with your outline? So the outline that I did, so I actually can use Sudowrite to do an outline. They have an outline tool with the canvas. That's one thing with actually. But what I actually did for this particular outline is I actually used ChatGPT, which I know more and more people are using. And we have some exciting features coming around the bend on Sudowrite that are really going to take what we can do in chat and just take it up that next level, because we understand how authors need to use that for writing fiction. So, yep. So after the Bennets left early due to Elizabeth's injury, he danced a set with both of Mr. Bingley's sisters and one with Charlotte Lucas. No more than a quarter hour later, he made his regrets and retired early. From the silence upstairs, I don't know what I want to say here, but I want to say like, this is where AI can help because I don't really know what I want to say. I just want to rephrase it. And this is actually a tip I learned from Leanne Leeds. If you don't want to use expand, because expand will use 400 words, Mr. Darcy noticed it was quiet upstairs. And he did not recall hearing when Mr. Bingley finally retired for the evening. And that's because I just realized that Mr. Bingley is asleep in his study. I didn't know that until I put that. So one of the things, instead of clicking expand, is I can just click rewrite, and you can do rephrase, and you can click go, and that'll help it to possibly rephrase it more in the way of prose. I guess you take out the parentheses for that. Or I guess we could do here. Let's try this. Rephrase. Try that again. This time I tried no parentheses. Mr. Darcy was aware of the lack of noise coming from upstairs, and he realized he had not heard. Okay, maybe this is just a boring bit to put in the story, but I kind of like it. I'll just leave it as it is. Noticed it was quiet upstairs, and he did not recall hearing. Tired in his normal. Oh, I need a better word for outfit. So I would just highlight that. Costume. Actually, that wouldn't be wrong. Yeah, that'll work. Normal suit of, and then I like it what I described down here, in here, where it was black trousers and a black waistcoat. I apologize. My parents attended a wedding, and so I knew that my dogs were going to go nuts. Black waistcoat. He descended the grand staircase. He descended the grand staircase, squinting as the morning light poured in from the. So there's actually a word for the windows that are shaped like an O. It's actually like it's like an oculus or something like that. Oculus window architecture. I know it's like called something like an eye or something. Yeah, the oculus. Yeah, we'll go something like that. But I know it actually has a French word, and I can't think of it all at the moment of my head. But I know at the moment, but I know it means eye. From the oculus windows above in the foyer. And I don't want to put he heard muted sounds of activity. How about that? Muted sounds of activity. Muted sounds of activity wafted from the dining room. He paused on the bottom step. Yeah, that's such a generic thing. I'm going to actually put he paused on the bottom step, looking down the hall. he paused on the bottom step and craned his neck. Glanced down the hall. Slightly worried that perhaps the ball had gone on until dawn. Okay. The familiar scent of smoke lingered in the air as the staff bustled about, as the Netherfield Park staff bustled about, beginning the arduous task of cleaning up the remains of the previous evening's festivities. I check the checks. I see that there are a few questions here. Yeah, in first person, Prince described the descent of the shuttle and docking with the other ship, and it did it. Oh, that's a cool thing, Steph. I appreciate that tip. And yeah, so the rewrite, when we did the rephrase, I mean, that's only 28 words. So it's a really quick trick. Even though I didn't quite use it, it still kind of like helped me realize, yeah, it's fine. There's not really much better way to reword that right now. He watched as they swept up the last of the streamers and discarded glass cup. They're not going to discard glass cups. Are you crazy? No. Gathered glass cups. Gathered orphaned glass cups. The last of the, I'm trying to think. I think dust. A fleet of footmen began moving the furniture back to the original place. All right. So now we'll have Mrs. Burton, the housekeeper. Okay, let's go ahead and have her talk, because I think that that's more kind of, because we want the reader to feel like you're Mr. Darcy and you come down this hallway and you're looking around and you're a little bit like, is the ball still going on? I still hear music. I still hear sounds. Oh no, the staff is cleaning up. And then all of a sudden this person's going to talk to me. And so I'm a little bit startled. Good morning, Mrs. Darcy, Mr. Darcy. the pleasing voice. Mrs. Burton, housekeeper, interrupted his I need a word like he's spying, but it's not spy. His espionage. Gosh, what is it called? Interrupted his curiosity. She appeared in the doorway of the dining room, her apron stretched taut across her wide frame. Love it. Love that detail. Perfect. Actually, I like that detail enough that I'm going to actually highlight that, and I want to have that be more descriptive because I think that we can get something a little bit better than that. Her arms thrown wide like a child begging for cotton candy. I don't know about that. First of all, it'd be candy floss if it's Britain, but anyway. She bowed her head to look under the door frame and through the doorway, her apron stretched taut across her feet. Okay, I kind of like that information a little bit better, just because it gives a better... She bowed her head to look under the... No, she's not taller than the door frame, so that doesn't make sense. Okay. And I don't know that her wide frame. Let's rephrase. Matronly. There. Matronly frame, because that could be either one. Okay. And she's not going to say can, she's going to say, may I be of assistance? Would you like, okay, so this is where the Q factor is, because I realized like there was no sound. He didn't remember Mr. Bingley. The dining room's in disarray, so they can't actually eat there. So would you like a tray in the study, sir? Okay. And he's not going to shake his head. I think he's hungry. Because I would be hungry. I'm hungry right now. Would you like a tray in the study, sir? Mr. Darcy answers, yes. That would be fine. It would be, I don't know what he'd say. He would like that. And ask for his horse to be saddled. Mrs. Burton answers, replies favorably. Actually, let's do it in the library because that's the same room that he was in with Elizabeth the night before, and that will work. And that's where he's going to find Mr. Bingley sleeping. Let's get my tenses right. Answered yes, he would like that, and asked for his horse to be saddled. Mrs. Burton replied favorably. And you'll notice this sounds very generic because I'm going to use the AI to expand it out. And Mr. Darcy walked across the hall he experiences a pleasant memory of Elizabeth Bennet. He in his arms the night before after she injured her ankle. I believe she calls it a sprain. Okay. Mr. Darcy finds a slightly inebriated Mr. Bingley slumped asleep in the chair. Okay, let's see how many words that is because that's going to determine what tool I use for Sudowrite to expand that. I know it's more than 100 words. Oh, it's only 70 words. So since that's only 70 words, but you guys can agree that these are like very like separate thoughts, it's okay for me if like on the way to the double doors, he's having these thoughts in the splashback or whatever. that can be a couple of more words. So I'm actually going to click expand rather than do like a rewrite. Check the chat here. Welcome anyone who just tuned in. We're probably not quite halfway there, but almost. I did write down what I started with. We started off with my account having 589,833 AI words. So we're going to see at the end how many AI words I used versus how many words I got. We started off with just using first draft to get this to kind of give me about 500 words, and I'm building off of that. Okay, I like this. He crossed the hall. He paused before the double doors. As a pleasant memory of Elizabeth Bennet in his arms the night before came rushing back to him. She'd been so light and graceful, and even injured. Oh, I love that. My heart. He shook away the thought. Boo. He shook away the thought and opened the door. He found. You can. That's one way to do it. I don't want to necessarily say it's best. It's just how I'm doing it right now. Usually, if I wasn't doing it this way, I would have closed my eyes and I would have dictated, and then I would have had this like mess of words, and then I use AI to help me clean it all up. But one of the ways I like to write is I've always liked being kind of like a director. My stories have always kind of played in my head like movies. I always tell myself I have unlimited budget for special effects. I can have any actor I choose, and I can have my choice of locations. So I enjoy kind of like the role of AI letting me be like a creative director and kind of deciding what happens in the story, and then directing the junior writing partner to really kind of flesh it out, and then I fine tune it. So, but you could do it however you want to. Ooh, I love this. Slumped to cheap. It was a site he knew all too well from their university. So yeah, I don't know about that. I think I would change that to their days in London. Let us sit. Okay, I kind of like this because I think I'm going to have them have like a whole conversation about what happened the night before, and that way it's good. Time to rise, and we'll go from there. Sleep from his eyes. So I like this information. I'm going to just push this down because I don't know yet if I'm going to take it out. I'll put this in here. I'm also going to go ahead and change this because I think that this should be conversation. This should be an actual dialogue. So that would be a rewrite, or I would just do it myself. Be dialogue between, oh my goodness, Elizabeth Wright today. Mr. Darcy and Mrs. Burton. We'll click go. Plus, using AI, you can click the button, then you get more drinks of your tea or eat some of your brownie. I'm sorry, I don't understand what the limits are. Thank you for your offer. Now this is going to be thank you for your offer, Mrs. Burton. I must also ask. At the top of the hour. Okay, so I know that that's good. I thought I put this down. Oh, that I did not, because that's what it actually wrote. So I changed all of that. Okay. She replied with a look of understanding. I think not she. Of course, sir, I understand. There, that'll work. Perfect. Let's put those words in. Of course, sir, I understand. Before turning to see it done as quickly as possible. Okay. So that's only for our middle plan there. The pro plan, we actually do have a plan that's 300,000 words per limit per month as well. So I think it just depends on what you're aiming to do. You'll notice that I'm not having the AI write all of these words. Just so far, what I have thus far is 302 words, plus all of this that I have down here that I still could play with. And thus far, I've used literally 1,000 of my AI words. So even if you went by that, you could, at 90,000 words, you could get the AI to write at least 30,000 words of a novella or novel for you. And at $29 a month, I think that's probably less expensive than hiring a ghostwriter or anything like that. So for me as a professional author, I find I was a user of Sudowrite before I became an employee of Sudowrite. I've used Sudowrite since November of 2021. So I used Sudowrite for over a year and a half before I ever became a member of the staff. So of course, sir, I understand. She gave Mr. Darcy a look of understanding before turning to see it done as quickly as possible. Perfect. And now he's going to go across the hall to the library. It's Professor Plum in the library with the wrench. He paused before the double doors as the pleasant memory, even with an injury. I'm going to make this 2 sentences. And now I'm going to add my own kind of flavor to this. Other ladies would have sought attention, begun caterwauling, and I got to check on that word, the etymology of it. Etymology. That's actually a good idea for an integration. Caterwauling, 14th century. Cool. We're good. I do understand and I agree there's a learning curve. So if you check out more of the YouTube channel, I have a lot of different videos where I walk everyone through how to use Sudowrite, and then I do these lives. Other ladies would have sought attention, begun caterwauling, or demanded their family leave at once. Elizabeth Bennet had done none of those things. Had writing a first draft, Elizabeth doesn't have to be perfect. Had done none of those things. He found his admiration for her spirit and good sense growing. I don't think he's going to shake away the thought. Those thoughts reassured him of his impulsive decision to ride over to Longbourn that morning and seek an audience with Mr. Bennet. Check the chat here. If you upload a draft, does it count those words in your monthly number? No. So you'll notice, like, as I'm typing and everything like that, those words aren't actually counted. The only words that are counted are the words that are on the card here, or when I did the first draft at the very beginning of the live stream and it kind of filled it up with 500 words. Yeah. Thank you, Rochelle. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you, everyone. She has a brand new book out that is all about romance prompting. Rochelle, drop a link to it in the chat, please. So it's a great book to read if you write romance, and it's going to go through like all the different AI tools. This is brand new territory, everyone. Like, we are all on this expedition together and we're all working together. Steph Pajonas is in the house, and on Facebook, she has a great group that is AI Writing for Authors, which I can also highly recommend. I'm a member there too. So we're all like working together to learn this stuff. So I appreciate you being here tonight, everyone. And please, Rochelle, put the link in the chat. Okay, so seek an audience with Mr. Bennet. Okay. With the footman busy moving furniture. Brave Mr. Darcy opens the door. instead of a quiet library, he heard the distinct sound snoring over by the smoldering fireplace. He found a slightly inebriated Mr. Bingley slumped asleep. He had placed Miss Elizabeth to recuperate. The previous night. Mr. Darcy sighed. It was a sight he knew all too well after their days in London. And Mr. Bingley's troubles with alcohol had cost him much more than just some lost dignity for the evening. Elizabeth's injury. I want to say it caused them to leave early, so including her elder sister Jane. Bingley often referred to Miss Bennet as his angel. Okay. I want to reword that so that it's show not tell or something like that. Go. We'll see what it does. Let's see if I have any more in the chat. All right. We are up to, I think, 15 views right now. So hello, everyone. We've been live for about 38 minutes. It's been a little slow going tonight. Mostly because I was not really prepared to write this scene. I had a really crazy week this week with Sudowrite and all the cool stuff that we did. All right, let's see what we have. Elizabeth glanced at Jane. Okay, Jane's not in the style. Is not in there. So this did not work. And that's because this is why this didn't work. I did a show not tell on just this one little sentence here. So the Sudowrite AI did not have context for the whole scene. And so that's where I made my mistake there. So one of the things that I could do so that it does have context is, well, I would probably grab more of it and maybe try to rewrite all of this to show not tell, or just to be, because I know what I'm writing here is very like just basic. It's just, getting the first draft done. Yes, Romance in a Month is Rochelle. Yep. Ooh, here we go. I like this. We already had the smell of smoke earlier, so we'll fix this here. I actually like this better. No, that's not happening. So we're going to keep this sentence, this paragraph here. But I also like that line too. Man, too many options. Okay. I like with the footman busy moving furniture, Mr. Darcy opened the doors themselves. Bloop. That's good. He was expecting a quiet oasis and instead heard a loud snoring emanating from the corner. Ooh, I like that. This is a much stronger piece right here. I like this a lot better. Of snoring. And we'll just paste that in. He was expecting a quiet, I don't like oasis. Let's do sanctuary. And instead heard, we don't need that extra heat, and instead heard a loud snoring emanating from the corner. Over by the smoldering fireplace, he found an unkept Mr. Bingley asleep on the same sofa that he had so carefully placed Miss Elizabeth The distinct smell of alcohol wafted from his person and Mr. Darcy's side. It was a scene that was all too familiar from their days in London together. Okay. Yeah, we'll just fix it. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this detail. Probably nothing, because I don't remember. Gently shaking his shoulder. Let's have Mr. Bingley say something funny. Oh, and I always forget how to do this. It's like Control Shift in that one. Nope, Command Shift in that one. Nope, that's not it either. Option Shift. Okay, that's how I get the M-O. Mr. Bingley startled awake. And batted away his friend's hand. The sound of breaking glass caught the attention of both men as Mr. Bingley's flailing knocked the empty brandy glass from the small, I think it's called a consort table. I'll have to look that up later. Next to him. Last. Bingley cursed. And then leaned forward, covering his face, as though he might be unwell. Darcy looked quickly. And I'm not going to do looked quickly because that's such a weak verb, but looked quickly about the room for an available receptacle for what he feared was coming next. As a gentleman, suffered the curse of, I already used curse up there, the consequences of drinking more heavily after Miss Bennet, Elizabeth's eldest sister, left early with her family. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. And now I can take this part out. So I'm probably not going to use that. Let me see what else I have here in the chats. Okay, so Rochelle, you are writing a romance in your group using AI. Oh, that's so cool. Start with your outline and then you can use Sudowrite first draft to get 500 words for your first chapter and do like what I'm doing right now. Yep. I use it to expand, rewrite, describe, all those things. Yeah. And to go even in new directions. And it does kind of sometimes let me think of things that I wasn't going to think of. Let's do a quick check because we are at 45 minutes. So, and I know I've done a lot of typing tonight. I did that on purpose because how do I not? I don't know that that's even the right word. We'll come up with a better word that's more Regency. Yeah, it doesn't even recognize that word. It's probably not spelled correctly. All right, so let's see where I'm at. I'm going to... No, thank you. Right away, sir. Oh, a heavily polished floor. All right, so we're going to keep that later part. All of this is redundant, so I'm going to delete all that out. And that is redundant as well. Let's see where I'm at right now. I am at, and we just started this at the top of the hour. And actually, I didn't even really get started, so it's probably been about 40 minutes. I have 636 words that I'm pretty happy with, that I would only need like 1 or 2 more passes before I would take it to an editor. And then right here, in terms of how many AI words I've used, 589, 833 minus 588, 307. I've used 1526. So right now our ratio is 636 keeps to 1526 AI. So that's a little bit less than a 3-to-1. I'm in between like a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 ratio, which I think I'm pretty happy about, because I think that that's pretty typical for when you're working with AI. So anyone have any questions about how I've been using the tools tonight, or what I'm doing with them? And why I'm typing so much. I mean, I wasn't actually planning on tonight being about an economization of words, but we do have our funny slogan that we like to say, which is "Don't be a T-Rex." Don't forget that your fingers do reach the keyboard. So it's always nice to write yourself sometimes. And I feel great because I've gotten 636 words. So let's keep it going and see if I can hit to 1,000 before. I've got 14 minutes to get to 1,000 words. So now it's go time. Okay, so let's go fast. Okay, Mr. Darcy turned away while his friend suffered the consequences of drinking more heavily after Miss Bennet. This is, the tensing of this is all wrong though, because like I keep going flashback. This is one of my worst things about writing. I suck at transitions like back and forth. What I think is clear is not clear for anybody else. Receptacle? Receptacle. Okay, that is. I bet that's very pretty American of a word. Container. Pot. Vessel. Vessel works. That works. That's probably more what I wanted. As a gentleman. Okay. So I'm going to use guided right now because I know what I want to have happen next. So I'm going to just click guided. I'm not going to use the suggestions. Mrs. Burton brings in a tray of food and realizes Mr. Bingley is indisposed. Mr. Bingley calls out, "No, that's quite all right. But I will take a tray of tea." A maid steps forward. Mrs. Burton calls for a footman. Okay, so I have Mrs. Burton brings in a tray of food and apologizes as Mr. Bingley is indisposed. Mr. Bingley calls out, "No, that's quite all right, but I will take a tray of tea." Mrs. Burton calls a footman, Jack, to come tend to Mr. Bingley, but he only hands the footman the vase and claims he's fine now. He is well now. Mr. Darcy nods as he's seen Mr. Bingley this way many times before. So I tried to give it enough information for it to write I didn't check my settings. Okay, yeah, 250 words. That's funny. At that moment, Mrs. Burton burst into the room with a tray of food and apologized for intruding. She was taken aback at the sight of Mr. Bingley in such a state and quickly set the tray down on the table. "Oh, my! Is there anything I can do to help, sir?" "No, that's quite all right," Mr. Bingley assured her weakly, though he accepted a tray retrieved from her willingly enough. He waved away Mrs. Burton's offer of further assistance, claiming he was feeling much better now, and she reluctantly left them alone again. I like that better. Although, no, we're not going to leave the vessel of sick in the room. Yeah, let's do that. So instead of just then, I like at that moment. All right, so we'll paste that in. Mr. Bingley, shall I fetch the doctor? Ooh, he's not going to touch her. Nope, so we're not going to use that. We're going to use this. And then I like it up here. No, that's quite all right, Mr. Bingley assured her weakly. I like this. And then there was Jack down here. He's not that sick. He's just hung over. Mr. Bingley as quickly as possible. But Mr. Bingley. On the sofa, amused by his friend's condition. Darcy checked the clock on the mantel. Spy. He had precisely a quarter hour until he needed to head to the stables. Why are you so fastidious? After a ball. And so I'm just exploring the scene here because I don't know what he's going to say. What is Mr. Darcy going to say? I think he's going to say he has an errand. I have business to attend to. Mr. Bingley. I know I hate the verbs. The verbs are so weak. But that's one way you can fix it you can ask the AI to just write you stronger verbs. But the first part is we put the weak verbs in. Mr. Bingley looked up at his friend, intrigued. Does it involve a certain lady with weak ankles? Perhaps. Mr. Darcy's tongue became inordinately dry and thick in his mouth as he struggled find clear words to explain his position to his oldest friend. So you plan to ride over and declare yourself, even after you have cautioned me. Yeah, let's put some conflict over Mr. Darcy frowned. He had not fully what do I want to say here? I want to say like Mr. Darcy had not fully decided or hadn't fully processed. But I don't know if process would be a word that they would think of in 1812. Had not fully reconciled how his feelings and admiration for Miss Elizabeth might come as hypocrisy to his friend. Leaning forward in his chair, Mr. Darcy set his teacup down. And I cautioned you against Miss Bennet. It was more, I believe, for her protection. Though you cannot claim, after the behavior of her mother last night, that the family is not pursuing an advantageous match. Mr. Bingley scoffed. And what are you, sir, but a poor suitor? About a farthing to your name. Mr. Darcy grimaced. Okay, so we're getting there. And now we're at 1200. And this actually happens to me all the time. You notice I didn't really use AI for hardly for any of that. But because I used AI to get myself to this point, all together, without even getting to the stable and all of this, tonight in about an hour, explaining to everybody and live on YouTube, I've gotten to 1,007 words. So, I mean, that kind of makes it a possibility of, let's see, 1,000 words. So if I could keep up that kind of rate, I could potentially write a book. Let me go ahead and stop my screen and just go me for a second here. Doing 1,000 words in an hour, and I feel fine. Like I feel like I hardly did anything. I felt like I had fun. I felt like I read more than I did anything at all. So you could do 1,000 words an hour, I think, pretty easily using AI to help you. And then that's like 50 hours for a 50,000 word book. So even if you have an evil day job or other constraints or something like that, you're going to be able to have AI to help you get your words done. So I'm going to just check the chat really fast. Yeah, sometimes AI does not have common sense. Oh, let me do a last check before we wrap up here. So I'm going to go with, let me see. I didn't get all these words down here, but yeah, a lot of these aren't going to work anyway. So the bottom ones, it's tricky. So here's what I'm going to do, because I haven't actually edited these yet, but I do have them, and that's 205 words. So if I was to subtract those from the AI generated words, because I haven't touched them yet. So we'll take 205 from the AI, even though I generated them, I'm not using them yet. So for tonight's exercise, I got a grand total of 1,007. And let's see how many AI words I used to get there. Okay, so I started off with 589, 833, so 589,833. Subtracting 587, 871, and then I need to add 205 to that back. No, subtract 205 from that because that's AI words I haven't edited yet or messed with. So basically 1757 is what I used to make the 1007 because I did a lot of typing myself. And as a ratio for that, that is 1757 minus 1007 is 750 divided by 1007. So 74%. So, or the other way to do it would be divided by 1007. Basically, I had a 1.7 rate. So 1.7, however, like if you want 1,000 words for tonight, because I was typing more, economic wise, I used 1.7x of those words times that in AI to get it produced. So sorry for the math and being a little bit wonky, but I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Did anyone have any questions in the chat before I close off the live stream? I think 1.7, I'm pretty proud of that. That's probably one of my better rates. Usually it is kind of in that 2 to 4x range. I'm just going to let the chat catch up. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending tonight. It was a great Saturday night. It was a lot of fun. I try to keep these just to be about an hour. That way, people have something to watch. And I will go ahead and get something planned maybe for next week. All right. Don't forget, there are links in the description for you to attend class this week, Sudowrite 101. We also have writing hours, office hours on Wednesdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Eastern. So thank you for joining the live stream of trying to get 1,000 words and using AI to do it. And I didn't become a T-Rex. I remembered that my fingers still reach. So you guys all have a wonderful night. All right. Thanks for coming. Bye.